I was a little confused at the end of the game. He's going to be going up against Twitch again. Cop actually in that game against Don't Mash Me never died. He was 9-0-2, but they still lost that game. So Don't Match Me has said he plays very differently than other Twitches, and he knows how to play against that champion very well.
Exactly. I actually remember their match against Complexity, not Complexity, sorry, their match against Curse back in week 1. He was like, yeah, I'm just going ham all the time, and I'll just get Gentai ulted. It'll be fine. But we've got a lot of picks coming through fast and furious. Mashme's going to be picking up Tristana. They've got Elise as well, and now Vulcan's making their choices.
So again, GGU, really big fans of that Elise. Yesterday, we saw Nintendo running it in the jungle. They had basically 5 threats on that team, even with the support going with some AP items at the end of the game here. So GGU always a very offense-oriented team here. And when you have the Twitch on the Vulcan side there, I mean, the go-to combo way back in the day, like in beta and stuff when we used to play, was combo with Kale. But with the range reduction on her ultimate that we got in this 3.05 balance, makes it a lot harder to pull off. The positioning is so much more important. And if you get too far away from your target, then it's gonna be some bad times.
Bad times indeed. Vulcan, of course, like I said, they've grabbed Sona and Jarvan. It's GGU's turn to pick up some more champions. But the lineups are coming through, so we see a Sona Twitch lane, and I guess potentially Trist Elise.
Yeah, so the Elise, we did see that the Daydreamin, he made his debut on support Elise, and he got the most kills on the entire team against Curse. So he definitely does have that in his champion pool. It looks like they will lock in the Lulu for him this time, and Nintendo gets the Spider-Woman once again.
Do you think Zion Spartan plays a champion? I mean, Elise is like the one champion we're like, could go in any role except AD carry. It's always a possibility, I suppose.
It is, especially with GGU, because they do like to mix it up. I mean, way back when they had to have a sub for Shifter in the first couple of weeks, they had Zion just playing middle. They'll move anybody around. They're very flexible. They said that was one of the things that was causing them problems, though. They didn't like that aspect, and they're trying to keep it a little more normalized.
Okay, we'll see if they end up doing that. There are, in fact, 2009. No, never mind, moving on. Vulcan are looking at their next 2 grabs right here. Looks like they're considering top lane Renekton. Of course, they've got their jungler support, AD carry, so top and mid are left. Let's see what Mandatory Cloud comes up with. Of course, he knows he's fighting against Karthus.
So when you have a jungler who's AP, it's actually really rare in this manner. Like there's Elise and there's like Fiddlesticks and stuff. When you have a jungler that's AP, it really opens you up to the other team stacking a couple bulwarks. And that's usually, wow, they actually flipped over that Blitzcrank, but they do lock in the Kha'Zix, so that's going to be another AD threat. They balance it out. It's going to be 2-2 here. They don't pigeonhole themselves into one type of resistance.
All right, so break me down these lineups. Of course, you have that Twitch team, which you've always got to consider one of the sort of hallmarks of a lineup. Other side for GGU, it looks very much like that 4-threat typical GGU style.
Vulcan have to be really careful here because their front line are 3 dive champions. This Diana, Jarvan, and Renekton love to just dive and go back to the end of your opponent's team, but you can't really leave a Twitch by himself because he has no built-in escape. And so if they leave it all up to Bloodwater just to defend Twitch, then it could turn bad. It's kind of like the Curse style of play where they're just like, okay, Cop, you're on your own. Peace. We're gonna go diving the rest of the team.
He did at least have Sona that time, so maybe it'll be just enough. But of course, we'll see what ends up happening here. Guys, we are into this match in the near future. Load screen coming up. Vulcan and Good Game University are very, very close together in the playoff race. Both of them could make it through if they go above Marn and Complexity. But this is going to be a really important match for these teams because there's still games left on the day. This is Vulcan's, I believe, only 2nd game so far this week, unless I completely forgot another match happening. And they've got just more to go. They've got to make sure they get some wins together.
Yeah, they didn't play yesterday, and the first game was the first game of today. So you're right. Vulcan are they're on a roll here too. Like they've got 3 games today, so they're not even going to be done after this one. They're going to have to keep their heads in the game, and they can definitely use that to their advantage. Actually, a lot more practice during the day. If something doesn't work out earlier, they can switch it up for the later games, and we'll see as everybody gets into the game.
We are getting ready to go into this one. Of course, you are seeing on your screen Vulcan on the blue side. This is game 2 of 5 for the week. There is Good Game University. They're on game number 3 right here. So these guys right now are counting wins and making sure that they have enough to get through into the playoffs right here because anyone can still make it at this point. We watch GGU kind of split up right now in the jungle, so an early defensive start for them.
Yeah, and only the 2 red elixirs. Not too many on the field here, so it probably won't be a very aggressive invade. We're just seeing everyone spread out, try and gain that early vision advantage as Lulu does meet up with Bloodwater and Zuna. Daydreamin walked right past both of them before this pause. I don't know if Daydreamin's actually the one who was having an issue there and had to have that pause up, or if he just was not looking.
I'm not sure. We'll have to get the official word. I don't want
a little far.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate on what actually happened right here, but we certainly did see a face check and a pause. Of course, now you see GGU are talking to the refs themselves, so it's possible it is on their side. There we go. Daydream takes the headphones off. He's going to talk to the refs. So, match me point of the computer. Yeah, so we're going to figure out what exactly is going on. All chat actually coming out from these players. Smithy types W. I actually have no idea what that actually means, but for what it's worth, Mashme was the one that paused the game. So, again, we're seeing what ends up happening. And Mashme has left the game, so it's either a disconnect from him or they are going to get this rehosted. So again, we look at this matchup, right, and you've got teams that are neck and neck in the standings. We've seen, like, ludicrously crazy upsets. Complexity had that 2-0 week the first time. We've seen TSM pretty much just, like, steamroll over Dignitas in the lineup so far. When you got teams this close, can you even consider an upset one way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I was even considering a little bit earlier in the season here when we saw CLG constantly dropping to bottom 4 quote-unquote teams and then beating the top 4 teams fairly easily.
Yeah.
It seems like the North American scene has become a very level playing field here, and it's not that surprising to see upsets. As we said, or Jat said yesterday, 4 out of the 6 games actually had the had an quote-unquote upset.
Yeah.
That's actually more than 50%, so should start expecting them here.
And actually, something interesting to point out about that, when you talk about upsets and consistent teams and whatnot, coming into this week, Curse, their only losses were to teams in the top 4. They were 3-0 against 3-0 or 4-0 against literally every team 5th through 8th. And then of course we saw Complexity take a win over them. We've seen GGU play amazingly. Like, there's suddenly, like, we're getting these crazy games out of nowhere where you know, things are turning around, and in the last week, like, the teams have come up and suddenly made these games crazy. So looks like they're saying ready. It seems like it wasn't an issue on Daydreamin's side, so we're just going to get the game resumed. And Daydreamin's in the middle of 2 enemy champions. He's been exhausted. Flashes over the wall. Zuna's going to cleanse and try to keep going for this one. Bloodwater and Zuna going for the damage. There is first blood. Nice pick up there. Zuna invading very strongly.
Yeah, I was going to say he's definitely dead if Bloodwater and Zuna want to burn their flashes for it. They both did, and they get the first blood. The only thing is now their AD carry also going to be flashless. So if we see some aggression early from Nintendo, it will probably be in that duo lane. Try and take advantage of Zuna having no cleanse, no flash, Bloodwater having no flashing, no exhaust.
Okay, that is going to be a difficult situation for Vulcan here. Good Game University. Nintendo's kind of waiting around in the river right now. Actually, there's a lot of lower river coverage right here for Vulcan. So moving on up, it's Nintendo still lurking around near the blue buff. He's going to just start there.
So there's also some deep wards that Vulcan did get out of that. They got one at the red buff. So after Elise does pick up that red buff, if he decides to go top, they'll be tipped off, and they can definitely play a lot more. Or Psycho Sid can play a lot more passively.
Okay, so Zion Spartan, he has taken up the double glimpse to the top half of the map. We've seen a couple of top laners do this throughout the day so far, trying to get a fast level 2, put themselves over the edge. Smithy, he's been given a hard leash on the blue buff, so the junglers haven't done anything too crazy for themselves. Even the top laners are more or less standard. It's the AD carry lane that's going to be the interesting one here.
Yeah, they went with the old Dignitas style that's become extremely popular, where you send your AD and your support middle, frees up that support to roam either top or bottom, help out with jungle invades. A lot more ward coverage from the middle, too. It just seems all around like a better idea.
Hey, we do see the Mandatory Cloud pushed up to his turret right now. Jinte taking a bunch of pain as well. I feel like these guys are going to have a pretty hard time in these matchups. Zuna, Dorn's played into Red Elixir Potions. He's going to have a really fun time with that one. Mandatory Cloud again in the mix. and Mashme and Daydream is trying to deal damage there.
So especially with Zuna picking up that first blood, you have to be worried for Karthus right now. We saw it when CLG had hotshot Karthus solo versus the AD and support. They just dove him over and over again. He's very squishy champion early, and they can come in with 3 people like they're doing now and just do a tower dive. We have Elise coming down to try and support this and deter them from that action, but it's a very scary situation for Jinte for the early part of this game.
Well, we'll see if Vulcan are arachnophobic, because right now they're still happy to kind of walk right up to Nintendo's face and deal some damage. The flag coming by as well. And it appears the Demacians do not fear spiders. After all, turret down to half health. They'll wait for the next wave.
That's a huge advantage. Look at the mid lane turret there, barely scratched at all. So even if they don't dive Jinte and get another kill, then they'll probably be able to get the first turret here, as Jarvan does make a move to cover middle with Mandatory Cloud.
We'll see if he can defend this. Of course, the shield coming out from Lulu keeps ManCloud from last hitting, so the shield actually denying gold from the opposition. Nice move there from Daydream. And Psycho Sid, though, is in a rough spot. He's been bullied pretty much repeatedly here by Zion Spartan, who's chugged his red elixir. And Sid is kind of just limping his way back in, slinking into experience range.
Yeah, and Zion really called for this one too, because usually on the purple side you'll see that switch, but they didn't want to send the AD carry and support up there. They wanted him in that middle, and Zion wanted his 1v1 Kha'Zix versus Renekton, and he's doing just fine here. Meanwhile, Jinte already pushed off this turret. It's below 30% and falling quickly.
It is just dropped so incredibly low. He's trying to last hit those few couple of minions here, but Zuna and Bloodwater just will not be refrained right now. So much damage coming in from them. We're looking back at the mid turret there, and actually at the top lane, it's Zion Spartan getting hit quite a bunch, trying to leap away, but it's a 1-on-2. He's been ignited as well, and Psycho Sid will get the kill credit. 300 gold there. Vulcan 2-0.
Perfect gank right there from Jarvan. And we've seen Smithy, especially among the other junglers, he camps a lane over and over. If he gets somebody's flash down, if he gets that escape out of the way, he will not hesitate to return to that lane. So he might be making repeat trip tops. There are currently 0 wards in that top lane for either side, and it's very dangerous up there in the long lane.
All right, well, we'll see if Smithy has any blackout dates on his season pass at the top lane. He might just be wanting to revisit there a heck of a lot. ManCloud and Smithy right now actually sharing holding hands in the mid lane here. So it seems that Louder Mortis has rubbed off on other people here. And they are playing the buddy system. This bottom side turret, though, getting lower and lower. Zuna will have aggro, though, as he's poisoned the opposing champions. So it's Bloodwater trying to deal damage here. That turret just losing health so very slowly now at this point. Like, it's almost gone.
So they've hit the point where Karthus is out of mana. And as we've seen, is so important if you've been watching the CLG scrims. Karthus is not a threat when he's out of mana. He's more of a threat when he's dead than he is when he's out of mana. So with him being out of mana, they can just take that turret for free. There you go. That's going to be first turret going to Vulcan.
Wow, and just like Cool Guys never looked at explosions, Zuna and Bloodwater actually walk past the turret and are like, my minions will do it for me, no big deal. So very Hollywood of them to allow their minions to do their bidding. Smithy and ManCloud, though, still going to stay in mid lane. So Vulcan have not yet lost that same turret, though. We've seen so many trades throughout the day, and Jats always said, yeah, you kill the mid turret, it's worth so much more than the bottom or the top turret. You know, that's a great trade, whoever kills mid. But here you've got a bottom turret for damage on the mid turret, and it just feels so much better for Vulcan right here.
Yeah, it definitely does. And we do see Zuna coming over to protect that mid turret. The dragon is so important because that's why everyone talks about the advantage for blue side. If they're the ones, they usually send their AD carry. Oh, Zuna opening up invisibility on Don't Mash Me.
Yeah, he's going to be okay.
Pretty much an even trade there, actually. Good shield there from Daydreamin'. Negates a lot of the damage.
That turret has been losing a bit of health there. I want to check back on it real quick, and it's down to only 894 health there. So it's at about 1/3 HP. ManCloud has actually been moved now to this bottom lane. It's a bit safer for himself, and you've seen their AD carry and support are defending that turret for now.
So like I said before, GGU is a very offensively oriented team. They're going to start looking for plays as soon as Jinte hits level 6 here. That Karthus in the bottom lane now, he's getting that solo experience. A few more creeps, there's 2 more creeps actually, will get him to that level 6. And then they could make Zuna pay for all this aggression that he's throwing out in the middle.
He's going for a bunch of pain right here. Nintendo puts Bloodwater down to half health. They looked for a stab right there, and now Nintendo actually is going to spot Mandatory Cloud, who was looking for a push as well. ManCloud is 6. He does not yet go on to Nintendo though, but still, now with vision everywhere, this is going to be a very interesting battle. Now Zuna and Bloodwater have shown up. They're going to go in on Jintei. Oh, he flashes the slow from Twitch and gets out, but his health bar incredibly low. Only has Requiem to participate now for this fight. And here comes Zuna and Man Cloud. Now, Nintendo has a ward though and can smite steal this away. He actually goes for a bunch of damage. Zuna runs from the cocoon. This Golem still down to half health though, and Nintendo wants to take this one away.
He successfully defends it for a little while longer. The smite is not there for Vulcan, but they do chase him out.
When Nintendo grabs that one, he's trying to run away. Now Zuna actually stealths up, does not choose to chase that one through. Nintendo, good defense, 1v3, gets his own blue buff.
There wasn't Smithy there, so the threat of a smite steal away wasn't there. Now they're going to go for Dragon off that because they forced the smite out of Nintendo. They know there's no threat. Plus, they already forced Jintei back. It's a free Dragon. Doesn't even matter that Smithy's smite isn't up because no one can come contest.
So great pickup there from Vulcan. Again, great play right there. Psycho Sid heads up in the top lane. And we talked about him kind of whimpering earlier on and losing that matchup. But now with that kill his way, he's up 2 minions and he's the one kind of aggressive against the enemy turret. So there's Zion Spartan taking some damage. Psycho Sid goes for the stun. They're trading back and forth. But look at that. Sid's getting the better edge of that deal.
Sid also has that pink ward ready, so he's got vision. He could drop it in the tri-bush, make sure that there's nothing here for Zion Spartan, and call for a gank.
We'll see if that does end up happening, of course. Right now, it's GGU very strong in this mid lane. That turret, still only 1/3 health. Mashpee puts out a little bit of damage, but the 3-man defense here of Vulcan is just sort of too strong, and they don't really get anything out of this, so this sort of mid lane push isn't going anywhere for GGU.
Vulcan really, they place their bets on the power of the blue side, where they get that bottom turret and then that turns into a dragon. I like to see the statistics on how often the team getting that first bottom turret gets that first dragon, because after that they followed up very well with not letting this very important middle turret go down like you were talking about.
Exactly. So Mashpee's going to try again. They've now pulled Zion Spartan as well, so now it's a 4v3. Ooh. And actually they find the slow. They find a bunch of damage on Azuna. Will it be enough? I don't think it will. Gets like, oh, it's going to be enough. That is a Requiem, and he sings the doom. That is a kill picked up against Zuna. Nice spike right there. And now suddenly GGU have all 5. 10 minutes in, they're playing ARAM. And
they finally get that middle turret. They do answer back. Cracked open the rest of the base. We have Diana split pushing in the bottom here, though. Mandatory Cloud has not rushed any part of the Nashor's Tooth yet, but Diana's still able to clear waves pretty well.
Doing a good job with just the Doran's Ring. Indeed, this mid-second turret has been dropped down to about half health here. A pink ward as well from GGU looks to spot any counter wards that might come through there. And GGU suddenly look a lot better. They are still down 2,300 gold, but they finally found something good for themselves.
Yeah, and we had Diana got one more wave up there as they called the middle of GGU not able to back. It's going to be a little bit of an answer for them, and Vulcan still ahead in the gold lead here.
So let's actually look at some of these sort of head-to-head matchups, right? We had the 1-on-1 top, 79-76. We had 2 mages get stuck with 1v2s. Jintei's at 44, but Diana for Mandatory Cloud's at 83. He's actually winning in minion kills for his team and started in a 1v2.
He's winning in it by a substantial amount, too. And the thing is, both of them got a lot of help from their junglers, but the junglers didn't really have a big discrepancy between them. So it's really Smithy coming up pretty big here and helping that Diana CS just that much better. We saw Jintei having a bit of a hard time trying to land those lay wastes to get last hits under turret.
We'll see if that ends up being a big issue for him. Only at 50 minions right now. Does have the kill they got onto Zuna a while ago. It seems that First Blood Zuna is still pretty happy overall. Mashpee is going to be there. Last hitting on his turret once again. The gold coming in for this GGU team to try to keep themselves in good shape. Zion Spartan, though, again, this 1v1 in the top lane, when's that going to end?
When they get some other people to join the party. Nintendo is up there, and he's at full life, so he could probably look to follow something up here. It depends on if they're able to use the aggression of Psycho Sid against him right now. He does have his ultimate ready, and he does have that vision war that we were talking about.
Walk right into Nintendo. There is the just damage coming out the cocoon as well. He's dashed back twice now, flashes away from Zion Spartan. They burn the flash and not much else, but didn't take Nintendo much time.
So now we have that Diana that's so much farther ahead of Karthus, like you said, going up 1 versus 1. And he's putting pressure on Karthus in this bottom lane at the secondary turret. 2 levels up on Karthus. Smithy does get cornered here, but he's Jarvan. he's doing a good job of dodging as well.
Yeah, the cocoon would have been a pretty rough spot for him, but Smithy does dodge that one out. You can see the wards on your screen. Watch that upper brush as Vulcan are looking for this mid-turret. Mandatory Cloud is actually waiting around behind. He's going to go in right here. What will he get? He's going to move on in. There's a crescendo. They land onto 2 or 3. There's the Cataclysm. He's trying to get the team up, but Mashme knocks everybody back, and they find nothing for that beautiful engage. Mashme, the real support of this game, keeping his team alive. However, looks like this turret's theirs.
Beautiful crescendo by Bloodwater right there, though. You can see he definitely orchestrated that play from beginning to end. Great play by GGU reacting, though. They didn't pay with it with their lives. They did end up losing that turret, though. It's going to be more map control slowly leaking away.
Absolutely, that omni important mid turret certainly. But Jintae, once again, bottom lane, farming up Tear the Goddess. Even if he's not getting gold, he's getting mana at the very least. And keeping his money going up for what he can. Just 73, he's getting there. I do want to point out, though, don't mash me on GGU. He's got an assist, he's got 112 minions, the most in the game, and he's got most of an Infinity Edge. That guy seems pretty powerful.
Yeah, and he is also maxing his rapid fire first. Usually, for laning phases, we see a lot of Tristana's put more into that explosive shot just to gain that lane advantage. But he's going straight for that combo of rapid fire max plus Infinity Edge completion. So since he's on a roll and he's been farming so well, he's actually maxing that one really quickly. And he's only got 1 more point left to put into it where he's going to hit that the break point.
So I have a question for you on team fights then, because we've seen Renekton and Diana from actually TSM when they got a win against... I forget, I want to say it was actually Vulcan, but I'm probably spacing and don't remember who it was. But they got actually a heck of a lot of shutdown with those champions. Can they deal with this Tristana here who's getting so much farm?
Once he does complete that Infinity Edge, he's going to be able to melt the front line. Nobody, I mean, the Renekton hasn't built any straight armor, and they took the armor off of Jarvan's flag. The aura there is not going to be there for the rest of the team, so it's really just going to be that Diana with his Seeker's arm guard, and then a piece of that Madred's Razors adding some arm, but everybody else, he's going to crit so hard as soon as you finish off that buy.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Of course, the Dragon has come up right now that is available for both teams to go for. Vulcan wave clearing mid, but GGU is the one that has a pink ward over the Dragon Pit, though, so a little bit of vision control for them. Is one of the teams going to actually go take a Dragon soon? It feels like Vulcan's in the lead, though.
Well, there's no teleport for either of these top laners. So when that action does happen, they're either going to have to walk all the way down here. As you see, everybody's grouping up for it. And really, both teams are ready for this fight. You can see all the summoners ready, except for Don't Mash Me over here. And everybody's got ultimates. They're ready to fire.
Well, let's see where they end up going. Of course, pink wards are down for GGU. They swept out some wards, but there is that one pesky green ward up in the left-hand side. And Vulcan looks like they're counterattacking with a bit of a push in the mid lane. Then they turn on back. They're moving back down towards Baron. Towards Dragon, I should say, and Manclub's going to start it up. Vulcan's going to start Baron here.
They can do this Dragon really quickly, and it's all going to be on the Crescendo. If the Crescendo's able to lock up more than 2 people, then it'll be great for Vulcan.
There comes the repel, and Nintendo's going to try to get for that one. It is picked up by Nintendo, but Jintae's going to go down. 2 kills so far, but it's no Mashme trying to come in there. Bloodwater taking a bunch of pain. He will go down to the Requiem. Mashme trying to run away as well. Zion Spartan in the middle of the mix. Can he get his Smithy? He does. Can he leap? No, he's going to fall down, but looks like it was 4 dead to 2 dead with Dragon picked up for GGU University.
He did get a pretty decent crescendo off there, and that CC is so effective against GGU because they go with that no tank build where they have the Elise jungler who can build a little bit of resistances, but not much. So they don't have anyone to soak up a lot of damage. They try and have Karthus go zombie mode in there as they get Don't Mash Me with a little stun. Nice rocket jump out of there. But the CC just so strong against the early game squishiness of this GGU team.
And Vulcan actually giving away and not actually staying for that second turret right there. Realizing that GGU University respawned pretty quickly this early on. Instead, it is Jintae running down to the bottom lane. He did pick up some kills there. He is 2-1-1, so that Karthus still scaling up through this game.
Yeah, and also the fact that they had Lulu just exploded in that fight before she could get the wild growth up. That's where the tiny bit of tankiness on GGU is going to come from. They want to be able to get that off on the main target. That even adds some knockup for their side. It was just a really good initiation right there. Now Zion taking some more damage up here in the top.
He's still not liking that one-on-one matchup against Psycho Sid. Sid is 1-0-3. He's got 135 minions. He's doing pretty well so far. Zion Spartan charging up the Mana Mune for himself. So that ends up panning out. So now with Dragon dead, Vulcan winning team fight after team fight, where do they keep going from here?
Well, GGU really want Jinte to get to the point where he's, you know, their zombie tank, sort of. He's finished his Rod of Ages, and he's been stacking up that tier. So he's in a pretty good spot right now. He's just scaling up, and they want him to get in there in the beginning of the fight, put down all the AoE damage, let his Requiem fire, and then they've got so many assassins to clean up after that. They have Zion Spartan to try and finish off solo targets, and then him and Don't Mash Me will both get resets from those kills. Their whole game plan is basically to have Jinte get everyone low, then assassins finish off each person and get those resets.
So we'll see if GGU gets to play leapfrog here in this game. Zion Spartan still in the top lane. Mandatory Cloud and the rest of his crew are moving towards his mid lane here. Mash Me last hitting a few minions nearby the turret. Vulcan have made their presence known, and they're trying to pinch down into this one. See if they can make any moves here. Like we said, recalling the top lane, and they've given up on mid again.
Just back right off of that. Vulcan, they don't have to rush anything right now.
Okay.
Even though they're a bit scared of late game Kha'Zix, late game Karthus, late game Tristana, they've got Twitch in their back pocket, and they have CC, a really strong amount of CC. So if they're able to catch them out again, you can see right there, stealing away the blue buff, that they're not giving away the early game advantage. They're still taking the important objectives, and they're applying pressure here to this bottom.
Well, pressure seems to be the name of the game here for Vulcan. They've done a very good job so far ever since really that first blood. They've been in control of this game, still sitting here 3,500 gold in the lead. Not a huge margin, but one that does matter, as Psycho Sid is still playing that split pusher. 153 minions on him. He's going to continue to be a huge threat right now. So again, kind of going back to the team fights, you talked early on about the fact that all the sort of front line for Vulcan are divers, that they might be going in. Are anything going to play Peel, or are they really just leaving Zuna to fend for himself at this part of the game?
Well, yeah, I was saying that's a pitfall that could really destroy Vulcan. They need to do the Peel for Twitch because they have a great counter-initiate team. They have that Crescendo backup, and they have these 3 bruisers that can keep up all these assassins off of the target. Once someone on Vulcan does fall, those resets are really going to chain and hurt the rest of the team. So they have to play a little bit more defensively and peel for Zuna instead of diving to the back lines like they can, because if they go after Tristana, he has so many escapes. Tristana is a great late game AD carry, not only because of the increasing range, but because he's got rocket jump, and she also has a buster shot. She can knock you back. Plus, he's running cleanse and flash.
Smithy just randomly stole one of the double golems there with his flag toss. I'm pretty sure that was in total Fog of War as well, and just jacked 13 gold away. That was a nice little move there, stealing that from Zion. Bloodbetter takes a little bit of pain. Cocoon won't quite land, but there's now a bunch of ward coverage starting to creep into GGU's jungle. You can see there's 3 in the upper jungle here. They're looking to pressure this top half of the map. They put more and more down, and Zion Spartan is just trying to farm up near his turret.
So Don't Mash Me sort of pulled a little MacGyver trick here and jumped to a sort of late game Tristana where he maxed his rapid fire first and he rushed his Infinity Edge. So he does have that combo. The only thing he's lacking that makes late game Tristana's really scary is the actual levels, which increase your range. He's only at that 620 or 30 or so mark right now. And he's not really quite up there where he can just be so safe and hitting from the very back of the line.
We'll see if that ends up being a problem for him. Of course, again, the long-range hopes are resting right now on Don't Mash Me. Vulcan, though, they've grouped up toward the top lane. Zion Spartan going to be caught out a little bit by Psycho Sid. He lands a stun here. They're not going to keep going in on that one. Smithy did not want a piece of that bug right there. Instead, Vulcan are once again sitting here in this mid lane. Mandatory Clouds pushing on the side. There's Zion Spartan taking more pressure. He has been forced to burn his ultimate. That stealth right there. That's going to be on cooldown, possibly for the next fight.
We saw this when in GGU's game against Curse. They have become a lot more calm. They just really like getting to the late game. They want to continue farming up. They don't rush objectives. They have faith in their ability to execute this assassin-y team. They think that they can just outplay their opponents in the end game when they do have that power on all these late game champions, and when they do get the power of the AoE magic damage coming from Karthus. The only thing is they're going to be bleeding dragons and other objectives over and over again. Bloodwater clearing out those wards.
Exactly. They have grouped up back towards Dragon again. Nintendo trying to spot something out. They've spotted the ward, though. Bloodwater could go clear this one out, and Vulcan just have control. It's a one-on-one top lane. Again, you said neither have teleport, so a 4-on-4 down here, and they've started up Vulcan trying to put this pressure down. Whereas GGU are really not responding to this whatsoever. This looks like another unanswered dragon here for Vulcan.
This is actually dangerous for GGU. I mean, I know it worked out versus Curse, where they kind of just ceded all of the objectives, but the reason that game turned around was because they pulled off this miraculous Baron steal where Nintendo just repels over the wall and uses the percentage damage of his venomous bite and just stole away the Baron while they had Zion split pushing. So that's, if you're counting on a play like that to happen, then either you just have a tremendous amount of faith in the mechanical ability of all your players, or you've got something else in your back pocket.
So you mentioned the Zion split push then, and that was, I believe, Riven against Kha'Zix, and he did rather well there. Now you've got Kha'Zix against Renekton. How's that matchup going to go?
Renekton, as we've been saying, he's been bullying him all game long. That's not changing very soon. The big factor, though, that's changed is the Last Whisper now completed for Zion. So if he can call for a Requiem with Jinte, that's something that hasn't been in the mix for Psycho Sid yet, and he could catch him off guard. Because if you can get Kha'Zix to have that isolation damage and follow it up with the extra from Requiem, then he can surprise him and grab a kill maybe. And that split push as we go Jarvan just missing.
Nice leap there from Zion Spartan, keeps him from getting knocked up and possibly killed in that battle. ManCloud going to push down the mid lane. Again, Vulcan are just trying to create this area of a high pressure in the mid lane with Mandatory Cloud, and they just kind of disperse once again.
Yeah, and GGU, they're content. Like I said, farming the wave over and over again. Their turret is slowly running out of life, though, so they can't keep this up forever. Psycho Sid happy to go 1v1 and with Zion. He's just going to fly away once again.
But I believe Psycho stole those away with a Call the Meek right there. So again, we're seeing like golems once in a while just get stolen randomly by Vulcan, and Zion Spartan's like a little bit sad every once in a while.
I feel like GGU are just building up until this final break point where they just say, okay, now we're going all out. Everybody just run for it. If we don't get the resets, then I guess, tough break.
Tough cookies indeed. GGU have, again, grouped towards this mid lane. They're trying to hold themselves up. Constantly getting pressure. This turret down very, very low. You're seeing it there under 1/5. Nintendo finds a little bit of poke. They don't quite find anything, though. They've pinged out Renekton. They know Renekton is right above them at this turret. He might be even surrounded if they want to go down onto this one. GGU, no, they're actually going to back off. They don't want to fight at all. This turret will go down. 4-1, another turret seeded.
GGU, they don't really have that many options except for catching people out here, so maybe they'll just go right on Psycho Sid. They have one slow that landed. They don't want to follow it up, though.
Seems they do not at all. Instead, now Vulcan have moved themselves over to the right-hand side. Wherever the wind blows them, they seem to move over. ManCloud is going to break down another turret. This looks like it's going to be, there's the wall of pain comes out. They're going to finish this turret off, and here comes the fight. Jinte in the middle of the enemy team looking for the kill on the Twitch. He's going to get the wild growth as well. Mandatory Cloud's going to be there. He dodges the cocoon as well. Now Smithy flashing away. Here comes the Requiem side Spartan. He's going to fight two. Can he keep going? Jumps into the air, finds three. He's going to keep on going. That's a triple kill. 4 dead. Now only Renekton is alive, and he's killing almost everybody. He's got 2. He's looking for an Nintendo. Can he keep going? There's a Glitter Lance. 4 for 3 in this fight, and Psycho Sid, he still smells blood. Can he jump through these minions? He gets the slice. He's going for the dice. He's been cocooned, though. Nintendo will back off of this one. Turret 4-3.
GGU finally pulled the trigger there. They just went for it. Karthus flashing in, using his exhaust. He died, but they weren't able to fight on top of his corpse like they were hoping. He did get the Requiem off, so the AoE magic damage was there, and they got a couple resets for Zion. It wasn't game-changing, though. That was only coming out with 1 extra kill, and you did already lose a turret. GGU just really hate tanks. Once Psycho Sid got there, it was all over. They had to all run away, and there's no one with nearly enough life bars on the entire team for GGU to tango with the crocodile.
And tango indeed, that is what happened. I remember from Dyrus's interview after TSM's win when he was on Renekton, he said, I added a couple of offensive items because I wanted to make sure that I was a threat in fights overall, and you're seeing a very threatening Psycho Sid. Yeah, he's tanky, but yeah, he puts out a lot of damage as well, and Vulcan have been using him to great effect. He is 3-0-3 so far, an immaculate score, as wards are now just falling over back and forth across this map. Baron's been aggroed, Bloodwater's got to run from that.
Yeah, the Crocodile goes with the slow burn method. He's got his Sunfire cape, and as once he pops his Dominus, he gets that extra magic damage for double damage over time, ticking down. And now they're gonna play the Baron game. Don't mash me and shoot over the wall. At least he's gotten to that point. The range is up to 500, almost 660.
658 indeed. Now Vulcan sitting here. Again, Oracles and a pink ward, so a lot of vision overkill here for Bloodwater, but he's constantly sweeping these wards out. 25 gold apiece. Actually, in talking with Lauda Mortis, he said he buys really early Oracles, and he's surprised how much money he gets from ward sweeping with an Oracles. And he's like, man, Sightswim's the best thing to ever happen to junglers. I get so rich off that. And we'll see if that ends up being a factor here. Of course, Bloodwater at 22 minion kills, and I wonder what percentage are actually wards and how many were stolen like a scumbag. Zion Spartan, though, he's actually looking for Zuna. Doesn't quite land the slow.
Yeah, GGU, after that last team fight, they have to be looking for picks now. They do have a good team for doing it. Elise is amazing at getting in there, landing Cocoon. Now Zion still...
Ooh, that's slow, so clutch.
Woo, just barely getting out of there. Vulcan want to siege up now. They definitely feel like they have the upper hand. After that last team fight, they want to take another one of those. The only thing is this, there's still one turret standing for GGU up on that top side. That's outside of the base. They're going to rotate down, grab this dragon, then maybe they'll swing up and grab that one.
It seems that Dragons, aside from the one steal that Nintendo pulled earlier in the game, they've all been going towards Vulcan. You're seeing their gold lead here as they take that one down 45.8 to 37.5. So certainly a pretty big gold margin, about 8,000 in Vulcan's favor. And well, with 4 turrets and 2 to 3 dragons, yeah, that works out about right.
Yeah, this another very slow game. I feel like everything's kind of flipped on its head here, where now the bottom 4 teams are the ones taking them very, very slow and methodical.
They've all become
play.
CLG.
Yeah, exactly. There, everybody's just playing the ward games, just farming it out until late. And now they're gonna go for the Baron. It looks like they're just gonna try and rush this one down. They have pretty good ward coverage. Nintendo's in the area, and he did steal one already yesterday.
We'll see it. It's down to half right now. They know that Diana is off on the right-hand side of the map, so it won't be a mandatory cloud. And there's the ward, and immediately Vulcan backs off, saying, Jinte has Requiem. Diana can't do anything.
Yeah, they don't want to try that one with Nintendo anymore. He's proven that he can take that one away. Elise is a very good jungler forced in that way because she does have that percentage damage execute.
Working out pretty well. Now Don't Mash Me is back in the mid lane. Of course, he's being given most of the farm. 243 on him. But look at ManCloud. He's actually shot up at 269. So the individuals are really, really skilling throughout this game. It's now Zion Spartan being given the split push farm. These guys are kind of just putting money in all different places.
Yeah, we talked about the divey, tanky line here for Vulcan. Yeah. They're actually threats as well. We've got a death cap on that Diana, so he can put out a tremendous amount of damage. And then Renekton, we saw before, not only does he have the slow burn from the Sunfire, but he's gotten his early Brutalizer, which helps so much with the cooldown reduction on top of armor penetration. And they have to worry about much more threats than just that backline Twitch.
Indeed they do, because Psycho said we saw him already clean up one fight before. It's entirely likely he will do that again. And speaking, Daydreaming having to run away. The flag toss comes down. Smithy, he's not going to go for a ward or anything right there. But ManCloud, once again, he is just perennially on that split push there. And of course, I mean, he's of course attracted to areas of low pressure, so why wouldn't he go over to the side lane? Zuna going to clear out Baron. They don't quite go for that one here. Zion Spartan just wave clearing once again. And actually, this turret's taking damage finally.
I'm curious what was the trigger. Oh, here we go, Mandatory Cloud under the turret.
Wow, he burns Flash, though. Zion Spartan did as well. Actually, both players flinched. Again, a 4-on-4 here. ManCloud far from his team. Zion Spartan healing up in the fountain. Nintendo's going to find Zuna right there. And here comes the Smithy. Will they have enough damage? There's a repel into the air. He's going to jump out of Bloodwater. Flashes away. His team. Oh, Zuna gets it with the expunge. Nice pickup there. And now they've got no Baron steal available for GGU.
Finally a misstep, but it doesn't come from Vulcan. It's GGU that choke right here, and they do get it caught out. Now they're going to rush for this Baron, and they're burning it down. No Nintendo to steal it this time.
Indeed, but it's down to half health. Jinte's putting the wall down across the wall. Yeah, I guess that it's actually true. Don't Match Me is right there. Zuna has stealth. Do they see him, though? It's still losing health as Baron dropped lower and lower and lower. Match Me trying to knock back Zuna. They go in for the fight. Blue team is slain Baron Nashor. Jinte in the middle. Match Me trying to run away. He flashes over the wall. Can they get enough damage there? Daydreamin forced away by Psycho Sid. Smithy has killed Jinte, and now it's Daydreamin trying to get chased down. Psycho Sid's going to find one. No, Smithy steals that one away. Scumbag Smithy with the double kill. GGU still trying to run to our dead. Match Me and Zion Spartan. They will try to jump over the wall as they get chased down by Vulcan. And they're just going to be safe, actually.
So I'm really curious what is the trigger here for GGU to go from their sort of reckless, happy-go-lucky style from the beginning to this very tight play that we've seen so far in Super Week. They really switched it up. Instead of taking a lot of chances and using these unconventional picks, they've just become extremely, you know, Season 2 CLG EU, now EG sort of style here. And they just kind of backed off of what usually you would expect from them. I mean, Vulcan have always been that late game team, right?
Of course, of course. Well, I remember actually in an interview with Nintendo, we talked to him about, well, you've got Daydreamin here, and you don't have Don't Match Me anymore, or you don't have Bloodwater anymore, as I look over and I like get the wrong player. And he said, yeah, basically, you know, we said, okay, we're going to refocus ourselves and kind of think about playing this game properly. We're going to stop playing these sort of weird off-ball things. I'll just play Nasus every game, like, and we'll kind of go back to basics and build ourselves up from there. And they've just sort of reinvented themselves as a slower-paced team, it seems.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried because it seems like they might be going a little bit backwards here. We've seen a lot of the other North American teams go through this progression where they were very predictable, they were very slow, they were very methodical teams, and then once they came up against the Korean styles and the Chinese style, they had to switch up. They felt like they needed to be more aggressive, they had to make all these plays, they had to do a bunch of different decisions, and they've all moved on to sort of the next step of LoL playing, whereas GGU have kind of gone the opposite direction, and they've just receded into the more defensive and safe style where they wait for that just one late game mistake and they hope that the other team's going to make it, but this time it happened to be them.
Well, they are going to be hoping for one right now, dreaming even for a mistake from Vulcan. Don't Match Me is going to be in this mid lane trying to farm up. He has 3 completed big items on an AD carry. Match Me should be a scary force on Tristana, but will it be enough as Vulcan are still pushing down the front door?
They definitely are. They're huffing and they are puffing. They want to blow this one down. Psycho Sid returning to his 1v1 duel with Zion Spartan that has been so uneventful this entire game.
Well, it takes a bit of damage on both sides right there, but of course with Baron buff, he's regenning fairly nicely. There's a flash crescendo. They find Match Me. Oh my gosh, he just blows up. Now Jinte in the middle of the team. Manclub putting out so much damage. Double kill picked up there and intended forced to run away from Zuna. Zuna will not pick up an extra kill, but it's a 2-for-0 so far. They're going to put down the Requiem. They don't find any kills for it. After the turret, it's going to be the inhibitor as well. 14-8. Vulcan look to close the game.
Yep, they've got that Sona with the bulwark, the AoE heals, the AoE defensive, and they're going on the Nexus turret.
They find Daydream and they find Nintendo. There comes Zion Spartan. Can he find the damage that he needs? It's not going to be enough at all. He gets 1 kill. He does kill off Zuna, but now only Nintendo is alive. 1 versus 4 with only turrets to save for his name, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Vulcan, they started out this series 0-3 against GGU, but they finally found 1 win here as they look to put themselves into playoff contention. The Nexus will fall. Vulcan will find their second win, or at least a win in their second game here in Super Week.
Bloodwater